It's the return of the Bradfield Weather Podcast, underwritten by McAllen Construction. McAllen Construction, from the first dig to the last nail. I am Dan Lovallo. He is meteorologist Bradfield. We are back for another season of the Bradfield Weather Podcast. We're putting this together on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Brad, good morning.
Good morning, Dan. What year is this?
This is our 8th year. We're starting our 8th year of the podcast.
That's crazy. That's crazy. We're either getting old or we're getting old. One of the two. But
I think we're getting more mature.
There you go. I like that. You're looking good, Dan. I like the studio setup.
Yep. You look terrific too, and obviously a different location from your venue, and it really looks terrific.
Well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate all that you've done on the technical side. Setting me up with my tripod and my microphone, and hopefully at least the aesthetics of the Bradfield Weather Podcast are going to be better.
Well,
we've only got what we have to work with, Dan. I mean, that might be a problem, but we can make the background nice. We can make the audio better. We can do the better lighting. So, thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome, and thank you. I'm looking forward to another season, which leads us right into our first segment as far as the climate and November, which I think has been a very interesting month as far as temperatures. What can you tell us?
Yeah, it has been a cold month thus far, Dan. Of the first 24 days of the month, 17 of them have been colder than average. Not a tremendous amount, but colder than average. So that for the month so far, and we are up to, obviously, Tuesday, November 25th. For the month so far, we're averaging 2 degrees below normal per day, and pretty much on the maximum and on the minimum. Now, as far as extremes go, the highest temperature we've had so far this month is 64 degrees on November 8th, and the coldest temperature we've had this month is 22, recorded on both the 21st and the 23rd. And Dan, just a reminder to the folks viewing and listening, we use the data out of Bradley International Airport. So when I say it's 2 degrees below average, that means it's 2 degrees below average at Bradley. We've had a trace of snow thus far, in other words, a flurry, on the 11th, on the 12th, and on the 14th, as measured at Bradley. And for precipitation total, only 1.38 inches, as opposed to what's normal for the month through the 25th, which is 2.73 inches. So we've had a cold month so far and a dry month so far, Dan. And as we move forward, it looks like as we start getting into December, especially week 2, week 3, it looks like it could turn increasingly stormy. So we could be making up for the deficit of precipitation as we turn the calendar and move on into December.
And obviously you're going to keep a close eye on that. And I know you're also keeping a close eye because you're talking, as we put this podcast together on November 25th, Tuesday, and then the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the arguably biggest travel period of the year. So that said, what can you tell us about how weather might impact the holiday travel?
Yeah, I was watching the news this morning, and Transportation Secretary Duffy was on talking about how this would probably be the busiest day for air travel we've had, at least in the past 30 years. So that's pretty interesting. Now, Dan, of consequence today, let me see here. I've got my travel stuff here. There are some thunderstorms going on today in Mississippi, Alabama, and moving over into northern Georgia. So I would assume if you're expecting anybody to arrive for the holiday at your home, maybe coming out of the airport at Atlanta. There could be some delays today because of some severe weather. Again, that's Mississippi, Alabama, and northern Georgia. Some pretty raucous thunderstorms are predicted in that area. So that is for today. Now, for us, and we'll see when we get to the On the Weather Map segment what's going on. But in essence, the lake effect snow machine is going to pretty much start to crank for the first time this season, coming up over the holiday weekend. So beginning tomorrow on Wednesday and during the actual Thanksgiving holiday itself, Dan, there looks like there'll be some pretty good snow. What do I mean by that? In excess of 6 inches. Now, today that's with a system moving through the area of Minneapolis, St. Paul. That is going to begin to give snow on the order of 6 inches or more, central and northern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin for the day tomorrow. So tomorrow is a very busy travel day as well. So people traveling out of, say, Minneapolis, St. Paul, or portions of northern Wisconsin could see snow in excess of 6 inches. Now, for the UP of Michigan for Thanksgiving Day, the Upper Peninsula, we are looking for very heavy snow coming off Lake Superior on Thanksgiving Day. And for Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, downwind of the lake. So we're highlighting south of Buffalo, perhaps in the area of Erie, Pennsylvania, Dan. We're targeting that area for heavy lake effect snow beginning during the day on Friday, so the day after Thanksgiving. So, this time of year, we could be looking at some crippling storms, but these are more isolated now. So the thunderstorm threat today around Atlanta, the snow threat tomorrow, Minneapolis, St. Paul points north, and then the UP of Michigan, Wisconsin for some lake effect snow shifting as we head into Thanksgiving and beyond. So Friday, that would shift into the area south of Buffalo and into northwest Pennsylvania, Bradford, Pennsylvania, Erie, Pennsylvania, for example, Dan. But thankful that that's it. Elsewhere across the country, I mean, there's no big snow in the Rockies. There's nothing going on of consequence in the Pacific Northwest. So those are the isolated areas for travel problems for the holiday weekend.
It's interesting, though, because you talk about lake effect snow for people who might not have an idea. And Brad, I broadcast the Hartford Yard Goats games, and in the Eastern League, there's a team in Erie, Pennsylvania, and occasionally I'll go out there to broadcast games. And for people who don't know, the lake is right adjacent to city proper. So when you talk about lake effect snow, that city area really gets deluged, and it's obviously going to have an impact if they get that lake effect snow to which you refer.
And it's all a matter of the wind vector. You look at a compass and you got 360 degrees. It is critical where those snow belts set up with relation to the lake and with relation to the wind coming across the lake and picking up moisture. For example, I think a west and southwest wind is what gives Buffalo their major storms. But when you're getting cold air advection, 9 times out of 10, the component is more to the north, not the west and southwest. So Buffalo gets their big storms on a different kind of wind vector than perhaps maybe Erie. I think this one, and I'm not a student of lake effect snow in Erie, but I do think how I envision Erie and how I envision the setup of the lakes, more of a northwesterly wind will impact them. And it looks like that's what's going to happen on Friday. So Bradford, Pennsylvania, Erie, Pennsylvania, those are the areas I think that are going to get hit hard on Friday.
It is the return of the Bradfield Weather Podcast. I know that Brad and I are excited about it. And I also know that one of our popular segments during the podcast, Brad, is the On the Weather Map segment. So what does it look like?
Well, Dan, today we have a fairly cloudy sky out there right now, and clouds will be thickening up through the day. Now, anybody who's been watching the weather over the years knows that when a storm is coming, we're either on the warm side of the system or the cold side of the system. This particular system that's coming in, even though it's been cold recently, I just told you it was 22 degrees at Bradley on the 21st. It was 22 degrees at Bradley on the 23rd. It was sub-freezing out there this morning. But the system coming in, Dan, is going to go by to our northwest. So we are ultimately going to be on the mild side of this one. And we are going to see a mild day coming up tomorrow for the day prior to Thanksgiving. Today, what we see is a low pressure center out near Chicago, and we've got a warm frontal system strung out from that low in Chicago through the mid lakes, and then a cold front arcing down from the low near Chicago all the way down to Louisiana. This system is translating to the east and northeast. So ultimately, that warm front is going to pass through New England. I do not think it's going to happen during the day today. So I think it's kind of a chilly day today. I believe I have the temperature highs between 38 and 44 during the day today, but the temperature will not go down tonight because the warm front will be coming through Connecticut overnight. So it'll stay 38 to 44 during the evening hours tonight. Rain will break out and associated with that warm front coming up through the region. So I do think most of today, Dan, is going to end up being dry. But then tonight, with the warm front almost right on us, the rain will break out. So I'm looking for a period of rain overnight tonight. So by evening, the low in Chicago moves to Detroit. The warm front moves up to the New Jersey coastline. And by tomorrow morning, that storm system is around Toronto. Now, I understand I understand this because I'm a big hockey fan. And the Bruins, one of our big rivals is the Maple Leafs. So I did learn this by watching the broadcast that if you're a native of that Canadian city, it's Toronto. They do not pronounce the last T. So if you want to be labeled as a tourist the minute you go to Toronto, say Toronto, then they know you're a tourist because apparently everybody who lives there says Toronto and does not pronounce the last T. So remember, if you travel there and you're visiting and you say Toronto and everything, you learned that on the Bradfield Weather Podcast. Now, I'm not claiming that it's right. I'm just saying that that's what I heard. But anyway,
I'll remember that, eh?
and that's what it's all about. Dan, the storm will be near Toronto tomorrow morning with the warm front up to the New Hampshire, Maine coast. So that means here in Connecticut, we're going to be in the warm sector. And I would not be shocked if the temperature moved up to 60 degrees tomorrow at some point in the day. Now, the trade-off is it's not going to be a nice day. It's going to be a cloudy day. There'll be some scattered showers from time to time. We will be in the warm sector tomorrow. So, and then the cold front will be coming late in the afternoon and early evening. So I think the best time for showers for Wednesday, if you're going to pick up the turkey or whatever you plan is tomorrow, in the morning as the warm front is in the vicinity, and in the afternoon and early evening as the cold front is in the vicinity. Now, for Thanksgiving Day itself, Dan, transitioning weather here in Connecticut, the cold front is through. So for the Manchester road race and everybody running, it looks like it'll be windy out of the northwest. maybe gusting to 30. So, that may make it a little uncomfortable. And the temperatures actually on Thanksgiving Day, I'm predicting only between 38 and 44. So obviously a change from tomorrow, Wednesday, when the temperature will be up near 60. And then on Thanksgiving Day, more around 40. So a big change in the weather, a lot of wind during the day on Thursday. So, but for you heading out or having guests over to your home for the Thanksgiving holiday, it looks like sun mixed with some of those cumulus, puffy white cumulus clouds. Now, Friday, Dan, the day after Thanksgiving, is windy and cold here. It's a blustery day. Field family tradition is we always go out the day after Thanksgiving and cut down our Christmas tree. And that tradition will be done this year with wind and cold. So it'll be done with winter hats and winter gloves and mittens and scarves and whatever. It's going to be a cold day. I think Friday will be in the upper 30s, right around 40 degrees with a whole lot of wind. So it's going to feel like it's in the 20s. So we've got a cold, blustery day coming up on Friday. Saturday, high pressure will be located right over Virginia. Sunny here, much less wind. So Saturday will be a much nicer day, but it will be a cold day. Sunday, high pressure drifts off Cape Cod. So we get a return flow of southerly winds. Milder air coming in at all levels of the atmosphere means increasing clouds. So sort of a mostly cloudy day on Sunday, but not much going on weather-wise. Monday, the high pressure ridge hangs on along the eastern seaboard. But Tuesday, December 2nd, we've got another cold front passage, Dan. This one, I think, means business. Now, by that, let me go to my favorite computer model, the European, okay? And these are the 1 p.m. temperatures predicted for Hartford by the European computer model. Today, 51. Tomorrow, remember I said we're in the warm sector, 58. Thanksgiving Day, remember we talked about it being a transition, windy, 45. Friday, 41 with a lot of wind. Saturday, 41, not much wind. Sunday, 43. Monday, 42. Now, just to give you an idea, the average high today is 48. The average low today is 30. So even on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we are below average temperatures to begin with. Now, for Monday, a high of 42. Listen to what the European has for Tuesday, 33. Oh, so much colder weather. So when I say that this cold front coming through about a week from today, Dan, means business, it means business. It'll be a lot colder. So if the average high today is 48, so by a week from today, it might be about 45. To be 33, we will be a good solid 10 to 15 degrees colder than what's average for the date. So much colder weather will be working in. Wow. And along with the much colder weather, what do you think?
Snow.
Possible.
Okay, well, that leads us to our next segment. Normally at this time, right before Thanksgiving, I have my snowblower all tuned up and ready to go, but I've been lax this November, but I had set aside Saturday to tune up the snowblower, and there's all this speculation. When is our first snow going to come? So it's time for you to give us your thoughts on when we can expect that first snow.
Well, I was looking at the mid-range models, Dan, and today I only looked out to 15 days. So we're going to go out 15 days with the European computer model and the GFS, the American computer model. And so what we're seeing here is Tuesday. Let's go with the European model first. On Tuesday, with the strong cold frontal passage, the European model suggests that we could have little bit of off and on light snow or some snow flurry activity. So certainly not that big of a deal. But with the colder air coming in a week hence, we could see a little bit of snow in the air, at least some flurry activity, maybe localized coatings or something like that. Now, as we head out into the Thursday night and Friday morning range of not this week, but next week. So that would take us into Thursday, December 4th, going into the morning of Friday, December 5th. The European computer model is speculative that we could have our first inch or two of snow kind of widespread at that point. That's the European model, Dan. That's the model that I personally have learned to trust more over the years. Not that I discount what I see on other computer models. The point we make all the time is that the meteorologist is the carpenter, and the models are tools that we have in the toolkit. So you use the models to construct the forecast. So we look at all these different computer models. Now, the GFS computer model has perhaps a few of these lake effect flurries on this Friday. So in other words, the day after Thanksgiving, here, we could have a few isolated flurries with the wind and the cold. Those would be lake effect flurries that survive the trip through New York State and make it here. But that would only be like snow in the air and, Currier and Ives thing, kind of pretty swirling around and, not much happening. The GFS has that strong cold front coming through a week from today, so Tuesday, December 2nd, like the European does. So very similar. But the difference here is the GFS brings that cold front through, stalls it, then has waves of low pressure riding along the front, with us close enough to get the storm. So, in other words, now the GFS model has the cold front coming through on a week from today, December 2nd, with periods of snow Tuesday night, December 2nd, Wednesday, December 3rd, ending Wednesday night, December 3rd. Now, I am not predicting this, but this is the GFS computer model for a week from today and then the next day. So 8 days from today has 6 inches of snow to the Connecticut-Mass border, with up to 10 inches of snow in the hills south and west of Waterbury. So that would be the high spots in Fairfield County, like around Newtown and Southbury and that area of the state, Dan. So, highly speculative at this point. But my opinion is we started the Bradfield Weather Podcast at a perfect time, because today we can give the weather for the holiday weekend and talk to everybody, wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, but tell everybody to check back with us Monday and Tuesday of next week, because the proverbial stuff could start hitting the fan around then. At the very least, Dan, it looks like we have a fairly significant cold front coming through. And whether or not that will be accompanied by snow, don't know yet. So, we will obviously get through the holiday weekend. There will be no need for you or I to disrupt our holiday weekend plans. Everything's fine until Monday or Tuesday of next week. But we may be back with you Monday or Tuesday of next week talking about what will be coming. So, as I said, Dan, our timing here is perfect. And based on what I just said about the holiday, I am thankful for the friendship I have formed with you over the years. It's been great. And I wish you and Susan all the very best for the holiday weekend, and all the very best as we head through the holidays.
Well, Brad, I feel the same way. We have forged this bond. It started when we were both in the Hartford media, you on television, me on radio, and it's carried through to this new technology. You've become a dear friend, and also best to you, Sandy, and your family as far as having a happy Thanksgiving and beyond.
Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So now as we wrap things up, I know you like to put a lid on things by giving us our immediate forecast. And again, we're putting this together on Tuesday, November 25th, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So what does it look like?
Well, today is mainly dry, Dan, but we will see lowering and thickening clouds as the day goes on. And as we head toward sunset, which is alarmingly early now, I'll tell you, I was noticing yesterday, it was 4:30. I was putting on all the lights in the house. But anyway, as we head toward dark, rain will start to break out. And then I'm looking for periods of rain overnight tonight. Not a tremendous amount of rain, maybe a quarter of an inch or so, something along those lines. But periods of rain overnight, temperatures in the 40s, holding in the 40s as the warm front comes on up. Now for Wednesday, scattered showers. Again, primarily in the morning with the warm front, and then primarily in the late afternoon and evening with the cold front. Temperature tomorrow near 60. So a good part of the midday, it may not be raining. Then for Thanksgiving Day, Dan, a transition. It's windy. We have a mix of sun and a lot of clouds. Fine for the Manchester Road Race, fine for any of your Thanksgiving travels to your family or friends, or their travels to you. Temperature 38 to 44 on Thanksgiving Day. Now on Friday, partly sunny, windy and cold, 36 to 42 on the thermometer, wind chill only in the 20s. And there could be a couple of those Courier and Ives flurries around, surviving the trip from the Great Lakes, but we'll see. Saturday, sunny, much less wind, temperature 38 to 44. Sunday, increasing clouds, temperature in the 40s. Monday, mostly cloudy, mostly dry, temperature in the 40s. Next Tuesday, a week hence, turning colder. Remember, the European only had a high of 33. Turning colder with a chance of snow or rain changing to snow. Do not take that to the bank yet. We will talk about that again next Monday or Tuesday. But again, perfect time to start the podcast.
Absolutely. And on that note, my friend, to you and Sandy and our audience, a happy Thanksgiving. Now, don't be spending your wife's money on Black Friday now, okay?
No, she spends the money. She's the spender in the family. I'm the old thrifty Yankee in the family. But we balance each other out quite well.
Perfect. All right, my friend, you be well.
Thank you, Dan.
The Bradfield Weather Podcast has been underwritten by McAllen Construction. McAllen Construction, from the first dig to the last nail.